right. How you guys doing today? It is your girl, Eastside Mary Jane to some, Trishana Dandridge to others. If you're nasty. Let me see. Eat your heart out. They know me by many names but one face. Okay. Now I get to see how they did it back in the day when you was like, oh, his name was Jesus over here, and we called them Elohim over here, and then we called them Jehovah over here. Same concept, I guess. But anyway, do I have a show for you? Okay. Now, this show today is inspired by a post that I made about 2 to 3 weeks ago about ghetto Black people. And I'm going to insert that post in here so you guys can see it and you guys can go ahead and rip me to shreds. Thanks to ghetto Black people, they make rules up to disadvantage every fucking body. Like, my daughter is here with me. I'm trying to get a CAT scan or whatever. And because, she's 15, she don't even look like she need a babysitter. But because I don't have a babysitter, I can't even get a CAT scan. Now, I'm going to let you know that this shit, these rules like this start from ghetto Black people and people that can't control their motherfucking kids. This is why white people and other people go so hard to shape the narrative that all Black people are like this so that it can disadvantage people like me. I don't have no fucking babysitter, and nobody thought about even thinking that I would be denied a CAT scan because I have my 15-year-old that knows how to fucking act. But just because a bunch of y'all kids don't, they're, trust and believe, they making up everything to disadvantage us every fucking chance. But what I'm noticing about these same people that I'm talking to, like, I'm not even referencing everybody, every Black person. We all know we all not ghetto, right? But maybe we have that trait in us. Who knows? But let me just, so the thing is, all the people that I'm referencing in my video is the ones that are in my comments arguing me tooth and nail. So, thanks to ghetto Black people, they make rules up. Now, just as many people, I don't know if they all like congregated and was like, we got to get as many people to comment negatively about it as we do that's liking it, because it's a collective of people, right? But I mean, it's so many people. I'm getting called a coon. Girl, what? You shape your own narrative. White people too. Like, they didn't hear me say and all other people. Why have you decided that because of this inconvenience is ghetto Black people? In reality, it is HIPAA requirement. Honestly, you're behaving a bit ghetto. Listen to the way you talk. You're talking about ghetto, clown. So they all just going in on me, blah, 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 blah. Okay. But this is the reason. And it's 7K views, 274 comments, okay? Mostly negative. And it's some other things going on, but I'm explaining that. But yeah, that contributed to probably like 5 or 10 comments. But it's 200 of these people about my choice of words. And I want to break some mental chains for you guys, okay? So I want to start off by saying this wasn't really a personal attack. I never intended for my post to be a personal attack. And I feel like people have said worse, okay? So I know that there's other things going on that contributes to the volume of outrage that I'm getting in these comments. But let's just take it at face value, okay? The post was like a in a moment post. I was upset because I went to a appointment that I had booked in advance, like a week, right? And let me just add some context to this video. I didn't say everything because, like I said, it was the heat of the moment. I went to this doctor's office. I had my daughter with me. My daughter is 15 years old, okay? Went into the office. It is in a typically white neighborhood, Okay, let's be honest. Everybody, 95%, 90% of people in there was white. That's what I saw. Walked into the room where you check in because they had like, I guess, two different places. So the first room was like the lobby where you check in. You go to the desk, you tell them you're here. They might give you a paper to sign, whatever. I sat down. London sat down. My daughter sat down. Now, I feel that at that stage was the appropriate time to remind me, hey, there shouldn't be any minors here, right? But no one did. So I was invited back. The person that came and got me was a black girl. She was pretty nice. She was smiley. She knows her job, I'm sure. She still didn't tell me I wasn't supposed to have my daughter with me. And yet, my daughter was in the dressing room with me on her phone as I was getting undressed, changing into the scrubs, okay, and getting ready for my exam. Next thing you know, I'm finished. I open a curtain. I take the key out the cupboard that had my stuff locked in it, turn around, and this woman comes, and she was like, first she was about to take me back. Then it was like she went back, and I'm like, okay, London, we'll just stay in here. Then she came back. It was like, you're not supposed to, you can't have her with you. She was like, and I was like, well, nobody told me that. She was like, well, it's in the policy or whatever, whatever. The only thing I feel like I'm gonna be, I mean, I'm like, not I feel like I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like I may have looked for specific things. I don't know if it was truly in the policy, but what I was looking for was things to not do or bring or wear during this visit. And all I really saw was like, if you have a pacemaker in or metal jewelry or whatever, take it off. Don't come with that in, which is why they probably make you take off your bra, because it could be a wire bra, but that's besides the point. Anyway, so yeah, she didn't tell me that until she came in, was like, oh, okay, well, here's, you're coming for your appointment. And then she went on and proceeded to tell me I couldn't have my daughter. So that kind of pissed me off because it was almost like something she created in the moment. Even though, hey, it could have been that the front desk receptionist, which is like two or three people sitting up there, and the person that came to get me and bring me to the back, they may have not known the policy. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. But at the end of the day, I felt like it was handled wrong. And we've all been in businesses where they've used common sense versus book rules. You know what I'm saying? And made on the spot decisions where she could have just been like, well, your daughter, she looked pretty calm and she's in her phone. It's only going to take about 5 to 10 minutes for this CAT scan, probably like 10. And you'll be out in no time. So she'll be all right sitting out here. It wasn't even that. It was the fact that she was kind of rude and everything. And I don't know what was going on with that day. It was something in the air because things just continued to unfold in that day that wasn't too positive. But I got through it. But saying this to say that after I left out of there, I was pretty emotional. I did cry. It was a lot of things that led up to me being at that appointment. I did not have my vehicle. A lot of people are saying, you didn't have your vehicle. Da, da, da. Don't you think I would have did all of the things that you guys are telling me? And at the end of the day, I had my CAT scan. I found out what I needed to find out, and I'm on to the next. People are still trying to weigh me down, which inspired me to create this video today. So this topic is going to be how ghetto is used as a weapon of destruction and self-hate. So for my blacks that are pretty tender and sensitive to the word ghetto, to being called ghetto, I want you to understand that I, for one, lived in the ghetto. I've been called ghetto before, and I think people get things misconstrued. They get definitions messed up. And they really, I feel like the lines have blurred when it comes to descriptions, definitions. People are all over the place because of emotions. They don't like truth. So anything they can do to blur the lines or get other people to join this bandwagon of soft emotions and non-progression and continuously to be labeled, they will make it seem like I'm here to attack. And that is absolutely what I'm not trying to do. What I want to do is bring awareness to a group of people that may have not heard certain things, and also breathe life into you to let you know why you are a target. Because you're special, right? You are special, but your environment have worn you down, and that is on purpose. So let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, I want you to understand, guys, that ghetto did not start off as a adjective. It started off as a noun. And when people refer to the ghetto, refer to it being a place, okay? So the definition on Google says ghetto, part of a city where minorities live due to social, legal, or economic pressures, typically resulting in high poverty and separation from the rest of society. Now, I want you guys to understand this is Google's definition, okay? And the last part of it really, really, really like raised an eyebrow. I laughed at. It's not like we wasn't having a time in the projects, right? I lived in the projects. I remember I learned some of my most valuable lessons in the projects. I learned how to character build in the projects. I mean, cookouts, parties, the little what you call them, bouncy houses and stuff. It all happened in the projects. Even in our darkest times, like when the lights went out and we was in the projects, like we had people to show us how to get by. Now, one thing I want y'all to notice in the definition that I read, it said nothing at all about the trailer park, okay? Now, I want you guys to understand that the trailer park is ghetto. It is the same class that want to lump urban areas in. And let me tell you something. The Black projects and urban areas are not the only ghettos, because I'm going to add one. And yes, the trailer park is definitely the ghetto. Now, modern urban, in the definition of the ghetto, was an impoverished, what does this say? I was just trying to hurry up. Oh, densely populated area characterized by low-paying jobs, poor infrastructure, and high crime rates. So the characteristics of the ghetto matches the people. Can you guess how the word ghetto became an adjective? Because the people that come from the ghetto, they need to find a way to describe you guys to the public. So the word ghetto became a popular thing, okay? Now, before we get into the noun of it, let's talk about the different versions of what they call, what society deems ghetto. So they call it a slum, the inner city, a quarter for Jewish quarters, an immigrant neighborhood, a deprived area, but they never talk about poor white trailer park neighborhoods in these definitions. So psychologically, to the average mind, to the majority in this situation, which is called ghetto, Black people, you're going to only think that this applies to you when it applies to every race around the globe. Every race has an area in a city where minorities live due to social or legal or economical pressures, typically resulting in high poverty, separation from the rest of society, and high crime. Okay? Every freaking country, every race is not just Black people. Okay? So stop feeling so bruised and battered and believe in yourself a little bit more. Stop falling into the statistic a lot more. Okay? It's amazing how people will argue you up and down and never consider changing. They called me a coon for pointing some shit out. You don't know me from a can of paint, motherfucker, but everyone that's coming up in these comments to wrestle me down about this is literally sticking themselves under the label. Like they are jumping in front of the fucking bus. I can admit, I was called ghetto before. Not in a massive thing, like maybe one person here, one person there, right? But at the end of the day, that didn't set me off. It didn't make me feel less than. I didn't devalue myself. And I didn't wear it as a badge of honor because, let's be honest, that's not how I present myself. Even when I lived in the projects, which they would call the ghettos, the slums, I didn't present myself as a project chick. I lived in the ghetto, but I wasn't a part of that. So you can go around and you can meet very, very great people that you would never even think grew up in ghettos and projects. That did not become ghetto. It did not. Ghetto is a mindset, okay? So let's walk a little bit more. Y'all calling it a separation from the rest of society. Nobody was really complaining. The thing is, the government come into these neighborhoods and implant drugs, guns, things like that will cause division in the same mindsets that white supremacists have when they come to conquer spaces that don't belong to them. They then create many battles inside of a village that would thrive wholeheartedly if it wasn't for their influence. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys just how that influence impacts us, okay? Now, a ghetto person is a disparaging slang term used to describe someone perceived as behaving in a low-class, uncultured, or unrefined manner, often associated with poverty or impoverished urban environment. And that is the Google's version of what a ghetto person is. Ghetto, I mean, yeah, it has nothing to do with your class or your culture, but everything to do with your mindset, the choices you make, the decisions, how you carry yourself. It has nothing to do with your expression, verbal expression, if it is appropriate for the time and the place. But if I'm expressing myself in a space where it's freedom of speech, like a platform, I could say and express myself how I want to. That's not ghetto. I can choose how I want to express myself. Look what people answer to. I'm gonna just keep saying it. Look what people respond to. I can say the same thing all day in a nice, graceful voice, and people will skip past my video. But the minute they feel insulted, the minute they feel like it's something negative, the minute they feel like it could be a fight, violence, that is impactful to the average mind because we have a tyrant, a predatorial society that puts agendas and shapes the mind of all of its residents, of all of its populations of people. It shapes the mind. So I'm going to show you how. Now, one of the things that was in the articles was, the people in Towson and the news talking about how Towson Mall had 40 stores closing. It was a lot of places that were in danger of even shutting down. Even with the 40 stores, a lot of places were saying how they would go to Columbia in better areas where they could thrive, where people wasn't shoplifting. Some people complained about fights happening in their stores.
In counties under pressure, we are continuing to follow the recent closures inside the Towson Town Center and the reason some shoppers are no longer venturing out to the mall like they used to. Recently, we've seen crime grab hold of the building, and now at least a fourth of the stores inside sit empty. The Towson Town Center Mall has taken many shapes over the last several decades.
I feel like I grew up with Towson Town Center.
Sharina Cannon says she went to Towson University and has seen the changes firsthand.
Over the years, I would say like the foot traffic has gone down substantially. I've seen a lot of stores come up, come down, restaurants as well. But I would definitely say it's just a lot less traffic.
According to the Towson Town Center's website, there are over 180 storefronts. But walking through the mall, you'll notice that many of them now sit empty. We counted around 40 of them. That's about 25%, with more expected to close very soon. Some people say it's online shopping.
It is a little surprising, but when you really look at it, I mean, people are just online shopping now, so it makes sense, but it's kind of sad.
Others saying it could be the crime.
You can go to the mall early mall, don't go at nighttime, and don't hang out late. People crazy how they be stealing out there. Then they had their parents come out and watch them.
In October of 2025, a woman was stabbed in the Towson Town Center parking lot. In November, a juvenile was stabbed and robbed inside the mall. Baltimore County Police say the teen was cut with a screwdriver and 4 teenagers were arrested.
This is Maryland, Baltimore.
Fox 45 has also reported on juveniles fighting, robbing, and assaulting people in the last few years. And now signs lay around the mall like this one saying no minors allowed unaccompanied in the mall after 4 p.m. Friday and Saturday. Teen takeovers are now also of top concern, where crowds of kids are visiting malls like the Towson Town Center. The next one being advertised online in 1 week. And as many stores close their doors in the center, some are saying it's the environment's reason that are making them decide to not renew their lease, like Capital Luggage and Leather, whose last day is this month after spending 15 years in the building.
It's time for me to finish the lease and then just combine it to Columbia location.
Most recently, the Apple Store announced it will be closing its location in the Towson Town Center, the company citing the departure of several retailers from the mall and, quote, declining conditions. A worker says they will be closing on June 20th.
It was very sudden since beginning of the year. It seems like everybody was moving out, apparently. So there's a lot of vacancy in the mall.
In the past 2 years, several well-known retailers have also closed, like Banana Republic and Tommy Bahama. Local economists say now the Apple Store closing is another nail in the coffin.
People might remember that this is a mall that used to have a Burberry's, a Louis Vuitton, many other upscale stores. The closure of the Apple Store at Towson Town Center is another nail in what might turn out to be a coffin.
And, one of the things that they try to do to negate away from the major point that they're making is throw in a person that is non-Black and have them say something like, oh, well, granted, a lot of people are doing online shopping, which is true. That's true. But why are people doing online shopping? Let's be honest. It's because of that culture, right? One of the things that they brought up in the article was about the Towson. I guess there's supposed to be another Towson takeover April 25th, where the teens are meeting up. They're getting dressed up, dressed to impress, all of this stuff to meet up and take over a space. Who are the parents to these teenagers? The teenagers are doing what they want to do. They're not guided. You know what I'm saying? This is something anticipated on top of the things that's already happening, contributing to the demise of a staple that was there longer than any of these people that are doing takeovers existed. But yet we're supposed to deal with a declining economy because of destruction of people that don't want to face reality. Because it's like, you're not dealing with it, so you want everybody else to. And then when we tell you about it, you're in denial. That don't make sense. That, to me, is a ghetto mindset. That mindset is something that no one wants around. You can't trust that mindset. You can't trust people like that around. You can't look forward to having anything of value that lasts. You can't look forward to growth, But what you can do is create a bunch of mindless people to be able to be controlled. So I'm going to go in and tell you how that works. So guys, don't be mad at me. I'm just letting you know. This is the same thing I used to tell my son. If you don't have a purpose, if you're just running around here mindlessly, these things will contribute to your demise, because right now, this is not life as it used to be. These people are evil predators, and they're here to get mind control and bodies so that they can have numbers to push these agendas out. If it's not robots, it's going to be people that they could use as NPCs, and that's what's happening. They need to tear things down so they can build things up into their next assignment for the United States and all of the cities and states individually. Now, I get that all of these things in history existed between black and white, but there has to be a time where you can do better and also establish boundaries to flip the coin. What I said in an earlier video is that black people, to me, across the board, they speak almost like they have accepted their fate. You know, they'll be like, well, that's the way it is. And this how we got to do it because this like that. Yeah, change it though. And this is the reason why a lot of people are getting mad at me saying that what I'm saying can open the door for white people to treat them any kind of way. It has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm saying and everything to do with what you're doing. And the shit is all over social media, is in the news. I'm just talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So another video that I came across, all in the same week of these people bashing me for my opinion, is in Chicago. There's a McDonald's that's, getting people to now use a doorbell to come in because of the same group of people. They are tired of the fighting, tired of them trashing up their lobbies and messing up, the common space for people to eat. So now if you're a certain age, you have to order from the outside or something like that. And they are making you use the doorbell. And I am going to share a clip.
They're going to start trying to give out rent for free for 6 months. You're going to see artistry and stuff like that. Church fronts, liquor stores, buy anything in here for $1, all of that type of stuff. You're going to start seeing cheap products. If you start to see places leaving en masse, it's a wrap, y'all.
A Fairfax County McDonald's is restricting the age of customers who can dine inside. Good evening, I'm Scott Thuman. We first showed you this sign last night at 11 o'clock. It states, if you're over 21, you must ring a doorbell to be let in. This is at the McDonald's in Franconia near Thomas Edison High School. And new at 6 o'clock tonight, we spotted a team being denied entry. 7 News' Jay Korf is live there now. And Jay, the change comes after recent fights involving teenagers.
Yeah, management here is just sick and tired of Thomas Edison high school students coming over here, really taking over the inside of the dining room, getting into fights, trashing the bathroom, throwing their garbage all over the place. So now the doors are locked, but the restaurant is still open.
Finding it there.
Now, I want you to understand a little bit about white history. This is where Ghetto and that mindset came from. Okay? White history starts on conquering. Now, I want you to understand what conquering means. It means to take control, subdue, or overcome by force, effort, or mental strength. Now, we may as well say and mental strength because they use all strategies. Defeating enemies, seizing territory, or overcoming obstacles like fears. And yes, they overcome their obstacles. They use all the tools that they have. And what happened is they created this matrix. When you live abundantly in the land and there's nothing that you can offer someone that comes from that very space that provides them with everything, you have to now learn how to pervert things and appease people's inner, like their lust, all of the things that could be looked at as sin. You have to learn how to appease their sins and create businesses around these things. So now you have guns, drugs, now you need police officers, you need teachers. Why would a village with adults in it need teachers or teachers that don't look like them to come into their own spaces to teach them when we could teach each other? And half the shit you teaching us has nothing to do with real life and growing up. So even after you wasted our time, we get back out and still have to learn real life. If we was cutting all that out, they would never be able to get in and infiltrate anything that we have. So now they can offer things to people that never had things before. And this is how the Black average mind gets caught up in stuff. One of the things that they use is bribery. Okay. So bribery is the corrupt offering given, soliciting, or receiving of any item of value to influence the actions of an official or employee, violating trust for personal gain. So a lot of bribery was going on, especially when it comes to obtaining certain things, a lot of selling out on the behalf of people that look like me. Let's be honest. Even we can look at things that's happening in our everyday communities now, modern day, and see how certain white people with opportunities can come into communities and buy certain people who are influential and have them doing certain things or saying certain things or just, staying out the way, making sure certain things or people stay out the way while making it look like something else. We see that to this day. The whole time the person is a rat, they going back telling about what's going on in their own communities that should be gate kept, things like that. Like, how do these white people know what's going on? Yeah, because you have informants. They also use manipulation. Now, the exercise of skillful control, influence, or management over people, situations, or objects, often in a dishonest, unfair, or insidious manner to serve one's own purpose. Now, look at manipulation, bribery, and what was the other one? Conquering is all of these things is to serve one's purpose. These things have nothing to do with community or the collective. All of these things are to serve one's purpose. So the thing that was done to us is the thing that we've carried throughout the rest of history, because now while they continue to use these tactics of manipulation, bribery, and conquering in different forms, like digitally, energetically, politically, we now have adopted those mindsets by being ghetto, by scamming each other, being violent, conquering each other. To conquer someone, learn how to do better than them. And this is something that we haven't developed because the teachers never showed us how to. See, once they put those manipulation tactics, they learned how to keep us there while they elevate off of the things that they stole. Okay. And this is how the flip of the coin happens. And now our job is to get out this cycle. Is to get out of the cycle, is to learn who we are and why these things are happening. Now, to go into a little bit about how things are happening without your permission, without your consent, let's talk a little bit. I got a couple minutes about urban planning and development. Now, I'm not going to go in back to when I was reading a book. I already attached that video where I was in the library reading the urban planning and development to y'all. As you want to see that, you want to learn about it, go find the video. It's going to be tagged in the description here. I'm gonna leave the link to that video that's on my Instagram, and you'll see an attachment, which is the video where I was reading the urban development book. So I'm going to let you know about a little bit about Project 2030, where decisions were made, about developing in a 10-year projection has been made. This stuff is happening, whether we like it or not, unless, something comes to destruct everything. But what has happened in the urban planning and development, there are like 50 people who make decisions. I don't know how they made decisions, but also in the urban planning and development, I saw that somehow there were locals in the community like me and you that also voice their opinion. So I don't know if they're going to these Senate meetings or local council meetings or what's happening and how they're getting their opinions out there. But baby, they've been considered and they're put in this 2030. So one of the things that they're doing is reserving space for the 10% in the county. They want the 10% of the population in the county to be preserved for water reservation, for farming and agriculture and things like that. And they don't want any developments in this part. And what they're saying is 90% of the county is actually in a space by um, the urban line or whatever, where they basically um, separate the county from the city. Now, in these lines, right? They have also, things are also separated between the counties that fit within the lines. That's in the 90%. That's not in the 10% of the county, right? That needs to be developed. It's a they're calling it a suburban area. And the new developments that they are going to introduce to these areas is called retrofitting. Now, retrofitting is going to create an environment for people who live in a county that is more accessible to different things like transportation, supermarkets, banks, and things like that. But at the same time, it's also, I'm going to just say this is for entertainment purposes only. I feel like it's going to help to, over time, march us into those 15-minute cities that they want to develop. Why now? You know what I'm saying? Another thing that they're doing is adding more diversity. They're adding more diversity and more opportunities for jobs and things like that. Now, what is really catchy to me is the fact that they were able to identify areas according to the most vulnerable groups in the county. Okay. And these are the areas that are being retrofit. Now, the 4 areas are young adults, seniors, majority minority, census tracts, an American Rescue Plan created by the government, reform and strategic initiatives that uses a multitude of socio-economic factors to indicate vulnerable communities, okay? So they can literally see everything that's happening in your community. Now, they can track all of this stuff. They also have hubs for where they can track public safety hotspots, social vulnerability index, which they can see negative effects on communities caused by external stresses on human health. Almost like in where they got the supercomputer. They can literally see the effects almost happening on human health, but yet they putting this stuff there. They also can track qualified opportunity zones, low income tax qualified census tracts, and area deprivation. So you better believe they know everything that's happening in your neighborhood before you do. You just look at things pop up, okay? And people that may not look like you are the ones making the decisions for everyone else. So when it comes to businesses, okay, when it comes to businesses, and like I said, the doctor's office told me that my daughter couldn't come back. I instantly related that to Black ghetto people. And even though that is a policy that says that children, well, that's what she said, that children cannot be there, underage children. My daughter's 15. I felt like, how did this even start? Now, knowing what I know about planning and development, I know that people see situations happen in the community or look at things that could bring opportunities in, or maybe things that they don't like. Like, I'm pretty sure the residents of Perkins projects and all of the projects that got torn down, they didn't come in the projects to say, hey, y'all guys, do you guys think we should keep it up, or you think or did they say it's a problem? Like, what have we saw over the years that people from Perkins projects was coming to Fells Point, a lot of robbery, violence, crime, things like that, and now all of a sudden the project's being torn down. That's the same thing that I'm trying to tell these people, with rules, with laws, with guidelines, with things like that just pop up in places. Now, even though one of the there's like several reasons, I think it was like 4 or 5 reasons why children cannot come into spaces like that, one of the reasons was liability due to behavior or something like that. It was like, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was definitely like a behavior thing. And for me, just, I know, like back in the day, I've went to plenty doctor's offices with my mom. She went to get a mammogram. I went with her. She had surgery. I was in the back. I've been to the nail shops with her. I've been on to get her hair done. Plenty of places that now the people cannot bring their children because they do not know how to act. The only reason why I was saying ghetto black is because I was at a white establishment. The way she treated me was almost like I was one of them. And honestly, I'm tired of getting treated like something that I'm not. I'm doing Grubhub. Let's talk about it. I went yesterday to this white pizza parlor to pick up a pizza. These people don't know. I buy my own lunch. I sit down, have my lunch break. There's nothing that I want from a store when I walk in or from my customers. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here making money. So she go to get the pizza and it's a tip jar and she just pushed the money down at the bottom of the jar. Like, I'm just going to grab a 20 and right there while everybody right there. And, you know, while I'm waiting for the pizza. Like, white people are so passive aggressive. And the fact that people like me get treated like that when I'm not out here taking 20s out of the fucking thing. And not only that, it's ghetto white people that would do it. But the thing is, I don't care about what they do. I'm talking about my people getting better. That's the reason why I chose to address them like that. And again, white people inserted themselves and other people that was non-Black American inserted themselves in a conversation that was not directed at them. It was not directed at them. So now I got to create a lesson about it. And I got to turn this, all of what they're doing into content because it don't make no sense. I should not have to. If you don't feel like that, white people, then when I come into your neighborhood doing Grubhub, you shouldn't have your neighbor standing across the street or at the end of the block. Like I pulled on your block to bring you your McDonald's food and I'm going to pull off and drive off with it. If I wanted to take your shit, I never would come to your block, sweetheart. That's how it works. I'm not going to come to your block and then take your stuff. But the fact that you got people watching me and acting like they mowing the lawn, or some people just sit there and stare at you with their dog or something, like it's ridiculous. And then on top of that, y'all also entice people that may have not even been thinking about stealing to give them the opportunity to possibly take from you. Because what y'all would do too is put packages on the porches that has absolutely nothing in it. And I know I've seen the conversations. I've seen the little chats that you guys do laughing at that weird ass shit, right? It's like manifesting some drama to your house because you want a story to tell, right? So you also leave packages. It's 9 a.m. I'm seeing Amazon packages, all types of packages when I'm dropping off food. Like, I'm not fucking smart enough to know who's getting a package this early. You know what I'm saying? And if that's the case, why would I steal it from the person that I'm delivering to? That don't make sense. So it's like y'all try to stage things and entice people when no one had to entice you to come to a space where that was already taken up of indigenous people and go ahead and take the things and conquer their stuff and make them prisoners of war. And that's what's going on. So until the Black people that's being used the most would wake up and realize that you guys are the human battery for these people to use against people that want to do better. Because what's happening is they're using you all over the media. They're using you to represent all Black people in order to hide the real crime that's happening with the officials and the children and all of these things that's happening. Like with my son, they literally use these people as human batteries and bullets and weapons to its own people in order to be distractive or to create a label. So therefore, no one will want to deal with any Black people, period. Like, everyone's going to think that all Black people are this way because this is the label that they're putting on themselves. So, you know, you'll have these white people, especially on networks like Twitter and stuff like that, You'll see, you know, a black African man or something commit a crime, and then they'll just go ahead and be like, oh, that's black culture for you, da 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 da, when they know good and fucking well the difference. But my thing is, yo, if we don't separate ourselves from the rest, if we don't rise to the occasion, if we don't do better within ourselves, then they're going to always be able to make guidelines and rules and plan inconveniences and increase prices and make restrictions and all of the above in order to keep the black people out. Which at the same time, other black people that don't want to be involved in that type of thing, we don't want to be attached to that either. So until y'all can do better, we have to coexist. And coexist looks like peace, harmony, and respect for each other. You can always be in power and be in control, but it starts with self. And remember, this is a no judgment zone. I'm just here to help. I'm here to uplift and elevate. So until the next video, I'm out. See ya.